Hi folks, Chris here from ET2's, and in this episode we're going to look at running aground, a couple of instances of running aground. Now, if you've been following the channel, you'll know that last time we went to Hartlepool and we had to leave the boat there because for some reason Paul's employers actually wanted him to do some work. Very unreasonable if you ask me. Anyway, such was that. So we had a week in Hartlepool and we came back and late in the afternoon and then decided to do a short trip as the first leg of our trip up to Edinburgh. So we decided to go to South Shields, and this is a relatively straightforward little trip. Not particularly exciting because the weather wasn't particularly nice, and so there's not a lot of great photographs to show. Indeed, for the whole of this leg, the weather wasn't particularly good until we got to Edinburgh. But South Shields was a nice little place to go to, and a safe harbour, although I wouldn't probably want to leave your dinghy there unattended. So anyway, next day off we went to Amble, and this is a trip to the main marina that's left on the northeast coast of England, and this is the entrance to it. As you can see, it's pretty tight. You have to wait for the tide to be right to get in, and there's a bar across the entrance to the marina itself, and we've got 2.1 metres and you have to wait. And interestingly, talking about running aground, you've got these pictures here of these fishing boats. They're locals trying to get into Amble when there's not enough tide, so they must be in a dreadful rush to get in. I'm not sure what the attraction is and why they have to do it, but a couple of them there really bashing against the tide, stuck on the ground, revving their engines away. Clearly it looked from like something they did all the time. Anyway, interesting stuff. And then Amble itself, the marina's good, and Warkworth, which is the village that's part of it, is pretty picturesque. And there's a river, and as you can see there's this slightly strange boar in the middle of the river. Anyway, off we went then next to Lindisfarne, and this again, the weather was pretty miserable. I had hoped to show you lots of nice pictures of Lindisfarne, which does look great in nice weather, but it isn't. It wasn't when we were there. So we drove in and anchored in this place, which is almost the only place we could anchor in. It's marked on the chart, so it's nice and easy, and it was okay. As I say, a bit dull on the weather front and not quite what we had hoped for, but that's the way things are. So that was the first couple of bits, and it was okay. Just pity about the weather. It wasn't very warm as well. That's the other thing that makes it fairly miserable. So off we went then next to Eyemouth. Okay, this is Coldingham Bay, just north of Eyemouth, and we were recommended this by the harbour master at Eyemouth because we couldn't get into Eyemouth itself. Looks like quite an exciting anchorage here, and we're rolling around mainly because we've got a southeasterly wind, which means the swell's coming in from the southeast. So this is actually not a brilliant place to stop because that is a lee shore there behind us. Having said that, the next stop, if we go any further north, is more or less Edinburgh, so we have to stop here now and suck it up for the night. Not too bad. So next off to Port Edgar, which is Edinburgh's main marina, and this was a trip up the Firth of the Forth, and it ended up being quite a lively sail towards the end of it, as we had to bash against ever increasing winds coming out of the west, but very scenic. Okay, so it's our time to run aground now. So this was when we tried to leave Port Edgar the following morning. Now we've been told when we rang up, when we came in, that there was plenty of depth because they had the place dredged recently. But as soon as we pulled out, and we'd only pulled out, as you can see, hardly any distance at all, we hit the bottom and got stuck. At which point we had to call up the Marina guys to come and get us, and they took a couple of goes to get at it. They were very nice about it and very apologetic because they genuinely thought that the place had been dredged, but it hadn't been, and it took a lot of tugging to get us off, even though we had at least an hour before low water. So that was a bit of a surprise, but all part of the excitement. At least we can say we've run aground as well. Another thing to tick off in the great list of things to tick off on your circumnavigation. Next time we go off around the northeast coast of Scotland, and we have our first very serious problem of the trip. If you want to find out more, please make sure you subscribe. It's free, and like the video if you liked it. Thank you.